Hi there. Welcome to Money Box by Rookie Manager. My name is Kelly. It has been a while, life happens, but hopefully we are back for good this time. This video is sponsored by M-Shori. As we come to the end of the year, I want to remind us of the 52-week challenge. How are you doing? Are you still on course? I would want you to just think about what your plans for 2020 are and what your money goals are gonna be. Welcome to today's video. Okay, so last week while I was trolling the internet, I came across this post that resonated with a couple of us, and I'm just going to read it word for word. Has anyone had luck reining in their parents' financial situations? I am trying to help mine out, but just keep finding more debt and bad situations. I'm worried if I keep helping out, they will just go dig another hole and I'll be stuck helping them again. Now, those of us who don't have, generational wealth where your parents are wealthier than you, so you never have to worry about them financially can relate to this. They may not be getting into debt, but at some point we've had to either step in to help them once one off, or it's something we have to constantly keep doing or constantly have to think about. So today I want to share some thoughts, and hopefully in the comment section and on social media we can discuss this some more, having experienced this, but also having talked to people who have had to support parents and have had to support siblings while, pursuing their personal finance goals. So the first starting point is that in an ideal world, children will not be supporting parents. We'd have first an economic system that works. Second, we'd have pension and social structures that ensure that the older ones are taken care of by, the taxpayer system so that young people can then take care of future generations. But the world is broken, and this is where we find ourselves at. Now, when it comes to supporting parents, I think the first thing to recognize, especially if you're African, born and raised in Africa, is that there are expectations. As parents take us to school and pay a lot of money in school fees, they expect that those of us who do well and get jobs will help the ones behind us. So the first starting point, of course, if you're not a last born like me, is that you'll be relied on to maybe help educate your siblings. And this is, it's a fact. It's not something worth getting annoyed over, but it's something that we accept. They call it black tax. So the first thing is, of course, to ensure that you have that in mind as you start making money and that your budget accommodates that. But then it goes a step further where then, because your parents have paid school fees for everyone, they're now at a point where they don't have enough money to live their day-to-day lives. That's the second level. Then the third level is where your parents then expect you to support them in their projects. So they're building rental houses or, they're investing in land and so on and so forth. And because you're their child and they took you to school, you must chip in. And then the fifth level is for emergencies, things like healthcare emergencies, funerals, fundraisers in church, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to handle all these things differently, but there are certain overarching principles when it comes to parental support. The first thing is, of course, you have to discuss with your siblings and your spouse if you are married or partnered up, or you share your finances with another human being. You discuss what needs to be done and who does what. Now, when it comes to siblings, we are not all gifted equally financially, but everyone should have something to contribute. It can be financial, yes, or it can even be material. Maybe the sibling who doesn't have enough money to be able to contribute can also be the one who goes to check on the parents. But the bottom line is that the labor should be shared equitably, not equally, equitably, so that doesn't build resentment where everyone expects one child to be the one that supports the parents. I see this happening a lot, especially where maybe everyone gets married and you're left alone and you're the one unmarried child, and there's this expectation that your money goes nowhere, therefore it should be the one that goes to help the parents. This is not only unfair, it is wrong, it's outrightly wrong. So while there's always that child who the parents reach out for when they need help, if you're that child, it should be your duty to rally everyone together and tell them, hey, there's a job to be done here, and call them to account to contribute. Everyone should be able to contribute money or otherwise. Then the second thing, a guiding principle is that you should know where the money is going. The expectation always is that our parents should make financially responsible decisions, but this doesn't always happen. We've had instances of parents getting roped into pyramid schemes, getting roped into fake gold scams, getting into gambling, and so on and so forth. And sometimes even, as they age, their cognitive ability may go down, and this makes them vulnerable to these scams. So it is your right to have a grown-up discussion with your parent, not a patronizing one, but just to know if I'm contributing, where is this money going? And to do your own due diligence to make sure that they're making the right decision. And at this point, you should be at a position to say, this is wrong, I'm not going to contribute to this because I don't think it's a legitimate scheme, and so on and so forth. Then the third thing is you should be clear the nature of the giving. We always joke that when you loan your parents money, you shouldn't expect it. But I've written in my blog, and I say this a lot, you should nurture the kind of relationship where you know the distinction between loaning money and giving money. If they come asking for a loan, then terms and conditions apply. The reason I say this is often we may not have money to give, but we have some money to loan out. If somebody comes to me today and tells me, Kelly, give me 30,000 shillings or give me 20,000 shillings, I will tell them outright, I do not have 20,000 shillings. And it's true. I may have 20,000 shillings in my account and more, but I don't have it available to give out. But if somebody needs a loan and they want a loan and they'll pay back in a month's time, then I may be able to find that money for them, even if I have to borrow. So nurture that grown-up money relationship where you can tell them, look, if it is a loan, these are the terms and conditions. This is the time within which I will need it back. Okay? Not comfortable, but not many money conversations are comfortable, and with time it gets easier and easier. Then the third guideline is, of course, when it comes to healthcare, I want to say this as a baseline. You should have NHIF for your parents. It's 500 bob a month, but it will save you a lot of money because we know as they grow older, their health deteriorates. So sign them up if they're not signed up and make sure that it's paid. It's a smart personal finance decision. And if you can afford more, then maybe it makes sense to also get them insurance. Now, should there be a medical emergency beyond that, then unfortunately you have to chip in. And here I say, don't feel shy calling on your community to help, calling on your friends to help. Because look, today it's you, tomorrow it's me. These are realities we are all living in. And so don't carry that burden of heavy financial bills alone. Feel free to ask for help, but at the same time, don't be careless. Get NHIF, and where you can, get another insurance cover for your parents. So the other principle is to only help what you can sustain. This was shared with me by one of my elders, one of my uncles. It was about two and a half years ago, and we were doing a project for my parents. They were doing a project and they asked for our help. And we had a choice to either take loans and do this project one-off and finish, or do it in bits and bobs. Now, this was to build a house. Now, I grew up in a house that took forever to build, and I was really getting triggered by the thought of giving a couple of 100,000 here. They build, then wanayacha halfway, then we come back after 6 months, we do a little. So I was telling my uncle, isn't it easier we all tap into our circle or bank, we all take loans, give the full funding for the project, build the house, finish, and move on with life. And my uncle told me, financial situations change, but also your feelings towards certain things change. If you take a 5-year loan to help build a house, you may not feel as positive towards this loan 3 years down the line. When you look back and see how much you've been paying every month, yet this is not a project that is benefiting you directly. He told me, help what you can now, and then 6 months later, keep helping, but only help what you can sustain without feeling burdened. So he said it's not wise to take a 5-year debt to do this one project, which is not really going to pay back in any other way but love. And I found that incredibly wise. We're still, continuing with the project, but we are all happy about it, and we're not all burdened financially about it. So this is when, especially it comes to those projects, it's not food, it's not healthcare, it's not school fees, it's something your parents want to do. Avoid going into debt to support them. Help where you can and say you will continue helping, but don't get into obligations on their behalf. So then when it comes to day-to-day living expenses, where you know for sure that your parents don't have enough income and you'll need to keep giving them money for the foreseeable future, consider starting a project for them that subsidizes this income. It can be building low-cost, affordable houses up country which are rented out that they manage. It can be starting a retail shop. It can be funding their agriculture thing, maybe buying them an extra cow or something that helps them work that out themselves. The reason I say this is I know even for our parents, it can be very uncomfortable to keep asking for money to buy basics from your children. It's demoralizing. It's not good for their self-esteem. And so you want to alleviate that uncomfortable feeling by helping them become self-reliant. Then finally, actually, the second last thing is to learn to say no. Guys, we are grown-ups here. And sometimes it may feel like you cannot say no to your parents, but believe you me, you can. So if they're asking, their demands are unreasonable, or you don't have money, learn to say, no, I don't have money, or no, I cannot pay for that, or no, this is not acceptable to me. They will learn to respect you for that. So remember, you're a grown-up. And if you're older like me, you're really a parent. And so act like it. Don't be intimidated. Don't be emotionally blackmailed. Remain reasonable, but learn to say no where things are unacceptable. And then finally, to close, just like they say in airplane safety videos, you have to wear your mask first before you try help your neighbor if they're struggling to wear their own mask. Remember that your financial future is your responsibility. While we, our generation, may be able to support our parents financially, the next generation may not be, because the world is changing, the economy is shifting, and even norms are changing. Our kids don't grow up knowing that they will have to support us. It's not an obligation they carry. And so take responsibility for your own financial future first before trying to support your parents financially. So secure your future and then help out where you can. Now, remember I said there are different classifications of the kind of help our parents need. The compulsory things like education for the siblings, healthcare for our parents, food, and normal day-to-day living expenses. That we have to do. The thing we have to make sure is that we are minimizing the long-term nature of the support. This means that we are setting them up to support themselves financially. When it comes to siblings, we are having conversations with our siblings so that they can understand that this is a short-term thing, and then they also have to take care of themselves. When it comes to healthcare, we're getting NHIF, we're getting insurance where we can, and please don't go broke if there's a sickness in the family without tapping into your community and getting help from friends and other family members. Then when it comes to projects, I said help what you can, only what you can sustain. So don't take long-term loans for their projects. Learn to say no for things that, you feel are not sustainable. Ask where the money is going and do your own due diligence. And then finally, learn to differentiate between loans and giving. Let the parents know that sometimes you have money to loan them if you will get it back, especially for business and for projects. And where you can give, then they shouldn't be disappointed that the amounts you have available to give are low. So ultimately, if your parents keep making financial mistakes, it is okay to manage that. When I brought this question up on Twitter, some people said that they've reverted or they've resorted to buying their parents the essentials themselves. Because when they give them money, the money disappears and the parents are still in need. So it is fine to micromanage if you know that they will keep sinking themselves into debt or into financial pits and you have to keep rescuing them. So remember, you can't save anybody unless you can save yourself. So you have to make sure that, your money situation is stable. And so that's why I'd want you to encourage you to check out the 52-week challenge. If you don't have an emergency fund for yourself, start saving now, even as we go into the next year that's coming up in a few weeks. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, please tweet me or leave the questions in the comment section. And remember to share this video with your family and your friends and your siblings, especially if you're finding it hard to bring up the money or the parental support conversation with them. So until next time, be good and let's keep saving, let's keep growing our wealth together. Goodbye.